Hey guys, Nikki Wood here, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the death card. Is the death card bad? What happens if this thing comes up in a reading? Well, I can tell you from personal experience that when I'm reading for people that aren't really familiar with the cards, or maybe it's their first reading or they don't have a lot of background with tarot, they see this card come up and they are terrified. I feel so bad for them. Just the look on their face, I don't know if they think they're going to die or people around them are going to die or what's happening, but they really look horrified when this card comes up. So I thought I would talk about it today so that it could be a little bit less scary. People could really understand the meaning behind this particular card in the deck. Now, the reason that this is happening is because Hollywood shows the death card a lot as something that's kind of like ominous and scary, and it's ingrained into people now that when they see this card, that's the energy behind it. And while I understand that things have to be done a certain way to make movies and such, I really do feel like it's kind of a disservice to us in our community because people get really scared. Sometimes it makes them scared of tarot. They think if they get a reading and this card comes up, they're going to die. Who wants to go do that? That's not fun. And the point of tarot is, you know, it's actually really helpful. It gives you guidance for your life. It helps you make sure you're on the right track. It helps you navigate certain situations. It helps you make sense of what's going on, sometimes just in arguments, so that you can figure out where someone else is coming from and what happened to fix the situation. So I want to try to do my part today and talk about this card. Now, if you've seen the death card at all, it looks like this. This is a traditional Rider-Waite image on the card. Most of them are similar to this, but they do have some really cool decks going on out there right now that have similar but different images. Now, if you look at it too, it really doesn't look super scary. I mean, he's a skeleton and everything, but he's got a white horse and a little feather coming out of his cap. I mean, I wouldn't be too scared of him. He's smiling, you know. So basically the meaning behind this card, instead of just saying death on the bottom, it should say death and rebirth. Because when things kind of move out of the way, whether they're at an actual physical death and passing on, if that's the case, you know, it makes way for something new. Whether the death is physical, it does make room for the new generation to come through and kind of work and do their things. And not like we want this to happen, but it's sort of the cycle of life. And people are making it scary and this big horrible thing instead of making it something that's kind of just very natural. You know, another card, this is a card of purifying. Also too, it's an equalizing card because death is the ultimate equalizer. You always hear you can't take it with you when you go, and you really can't. Death doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care if you're famous, it doesn't care if you're rich, it doesn't care if you're poor, it doesn't care if you're nice or if you're mean. It's going to be here for all of us eventually, and in death we're all going to be the same. We're not going to be able to take all of our stuff with us. We're all going to be equal. So that's the meaning behind this portion of the card. You know, as a purification process, you know, purification is getting rid of the old and making way for the new. It doesn't have to be like literal, but when this card comes up, it could be a good thing for you because maybe you're getting rid of stuff in your life that's not working and it's making room for stuff that is. You know, a good example too is, you know, us girls, we like to shop and we've got our clothes and stuff and we kind of hang on to things. You know, we just hang on to everything because you never know. And, you know, if you're a woman, and maybe a man, most of the men I know, their closets are very sparse. They don't seem to have the same problems and issues that we do. But, you know, if we have a lot of clothes in our closet that don't fit, or that need, you know, to be, you know, like hemmed up or sewn or need repair, or we just don't like them, you know, we have a closet full of clothes we don't like, but there's no room for new clothes unless we take out the clothes that aren't working for us. And that's sort of the energy of this card. You know, whatever's not working is falling away to make room for new things. So it's actually kind of a really great card. Now, the other question I get is this a card of actual death? If I get this card, am I going to die? Well, that's sort of not how the tarot works, at least not for me in my experience. I never see an actual physical death. Sometimes I have seen in the past where one of my clients has been worried about, you know, somebody that's around them, whether it's, you know, an aunt, an uncle, a boyfriend, a family member, somebody like that. They're really concerned for somebody's safety. Now, I have seen a card come up before, and not this particular card, but another card where I was like, I feel like somebody's like, they could be in some trouble, like somebody's looking at them like not okay, might be thinking about doing something, and they go, oh yes, that's exactly, and I didn't have any background and that's what I saw, but I don't ever see like, oh, somebody's dead. That's not what I see, and I don't think that the cards want you to work like that either. A lot of times I've spoken with other readers and you know, people that whether they do reading like this, whether they're doing other energy readings, and they see a lot of times they see the death, they see a lot of happy energy or peaceful energy or things like that. That's the energy that comes up around that particular item when you're doing readings. So I never really see it as an actual like, oh, you're gonna die. Like I don't see that. And I've never predicted anyone's death. That's not something I do. Another thing too, unfortunately, I have, you know, life is tough, and we, you know, like we're not always supposed to be here forever. I've dealt with a lot of clients who have had family members or relatives that are sick, and they want to know, like, when is this person going to die? You know, and I don't know if that will help them, give them some closure, or what it is that they need, but that's not what I do, and that's not how my cards work for me. Maybe some readers do work like that. I don't. Most of the time that's not how it works. So the death card really isn't symbolic of an actual death. So if you see this, don't feel like, you know, the Grim Reaper's coming for you. It's probably just a point in your life where things are changing for you. And if it's right side up, it's really great because things are changing for the better. You're making room for some new things to come in and some new energy. So just think about it like getting rid of crap that you don't need and having the room to put new stuff that you really want in your life. Now, I will say if this comes up reversed, is it bad if it's reversed? Let's talk about that. Well, not really. Basically what this just means is instead of the right side up, the energy is flowing and there's movement, you know what I mean? But upside down, there's just no movement. So if I see this in a reading, it might be an indication, well, stuff, you might need to move some stuff because it looks like the energy is very stagnant right now. So either direction, it's not bad, whether it's upright or reversed, but it is a really good card. So if you see this card in a reading, please don't be afraid of it. And share this with everyone that you know too, because I really do want people to be encouraged to get tarot readings. They really are helpful, and not to be afraid of what you see in the deck. It's not some big scary thing. It's actually a really helpful tool. So when you think about it that way, it really changes the perspective and it changes the conversation. So thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I hope you have an absolutely beautiful day.